Once upon a time, in the big green forests of South America, there lived a tribe. They lived in harmony with nature. The leader of the tribe was Chief Powhatan. He was a strong and powerful man. His daughter was Pocahontas. She was a young girl with a free spirit, and she always looked up at the big sky. In the thick forest, many girls from the tribe were picking berries and flowers together. Laughter was everywhere. But Pocahontas was not having fun with this work. She walked slowly behind the others. Her basket was almost empty, and her hands were busy playing with her boomerang. "We must go home before the sun sets," one girl called out. Pocahontas looked up and smiled gently. "Why are we in a hurry? I want to stay here to watch the stars and listen to the crickets and owls at night. I do not like picking fruit." Then she threw her boomerang up at a high tree branch. Suddenly, a bunch of fruit shook and fell right into her basket. The other girls were very surprised. Their eyes were wide open. Pocahontas pointed to a tall mountain far away. There was a small cave there. "It would be amazing to sleep there tonight," she said excitedly. "It would feel like touching the stars." Another girl shook her head. "Girls cannot do things like that. That is only for boys." Pocahontas was not angry. She looked at them with determined eyes. "I don't need to be a boy. Girls can do anything boys can do. We can even do it better." After saying that, Pocahontas left the group and ran toward the mountain. "Pocahontas, come back!" But no one could stop her. Pocahontas quickly climbed the mountain and went to the cave. On a rock outside the cave, she saw a baby owl. It had fallen from its nest. Its big eyes looked very scared. Pocahontas picked it up gently. She climbed a tree and put the baby owl back in its safe nest. Then she sat on a branch. She looked up at the night sky. The stars were twinkling. It felt like they were whispering her name. She reached out her hand, almost touching the stars. She sighed softly. It was a happy sigh, full of freedom and dreams. The next morning, the sunlight woke her up. Before she knew what was happening, she heard a worried voice. "Pocahontas, are you okay?" She turned around and saw her father, Chief Powhatan. He looked very stressed. "Do you know how worried I was? Wild animals could attack you. Anything can happen in the deep forest." Pocahontas walked to her father. She spoke gently. "I kept a fire burning all night. I am safe. The animals in the forest know me. They will not hurt me." Powhatan looked at his daughter. He was angry but also worried. He stayed quiet for a moment. Then he sighed. "Enough. Let's go home." As they walked down the mountain, they suddenly heard a loud, strange noise from far away. Powhatan immediately told his warriors to go up high and check. From the top of the mountain, they looked outside the forest. They saw something they had never seen before. It was a caravan of wagons with horses. It was full of people, goods, and tents. The wheels rolled on the ground, making a lot of dust. The leader of the group was called the governor. His voice was strong and confident. "We will build a city here. Tonight we camp in tents. Tomorrow we start building." Powhatan and the old leaders of the tribe were very worried. Who are these people? Where are they from? What do they want with this land? Powhatan made a plan. "We will watch them carefully. We will bring them gifts. We must learn who they are. Later, maybe we can make them join our tribe." The tribe quickly gathered fruit, coconuts, and bags of grain. They took these things to the camp of the strangers. "Your guests on our land. Please take these gifts," Powhatan said. "Thank you very much, Chief Powhatan," the governor answered. From that day on, the tribe often brought food and tools. In return, they received blankets and ropes. They saw things they had never seen before. On the outside, they seemed like friends. But deep down, the two leaders had secret plans. "They are living on our land," Powhatan said in a meeting. "They must join our tribe. If they do not follow my orders, we will attack. We will fight the day after the full moon." "But father," Pocahontas said. Her voice was full of worry. "This is not a topic for girls." Powhatan stopped her. Pocahontas felt very sad. She realized the truth. Her tribe was going to start a war. They were not fighting to protect themselves. They were fighting to take over the strangers. Pocahontas walked slowly through the deep forest. The sound of running water made her think. Suddenly she heard a strange noise from the waterfall. She stopped to listen, then went quickly to look. A small animal was stuck in the fast water. Without waiting, Pocahontas jumped in to save it. At that moment, a strange man appeared. It was John Smith. In the chaos, the strong water pulled them both down. They slid deep into the forest. The water finally slowed down. Pocahontas pulled John Smith to the riverbank. It was now very dark. "Are you okay?" she asked worriedly. "Yeah," John answered. He was in pain, but he tried to smile. He looked at her with surprise. "You risked your life to save me. You also risked your life to save that animal." Suddenly he stopped. He whispered, "Shh, don't move." On the ground, right in front of them, was a cobra snake. John Smith quickly picked up a stone. He was ready to throw it. "Stop!" Pocahontas shouted. She moved forward and knelt down. She held out her hands very slowly. "We will not hurt you. If you don't like us, we will leave. Sorry for bothering you." The snake seemed to think for a moment. Then it quietly moved into the bushes. John Smith breathed a sigh of relief, but he was still very surprised. He asked, "Did you talk to the snake? Do you understand it?" Pocahontas shook her head. She looked up at the starry sky. "All of us, humans, animals, plants, the sky, the rain, and the stars, we are all one family. We can talk to each other in the language of love." "The language of love?" John Smith asked. "It is when you do not want to hurt anyone," Pocahontas answered softly. "It is when you want every creature to live, and when you respect their life." Suddenly a small bird flew down. It landed gently on Pocahontas's shoulder. Pocahontas smiled. She touched its soft feathers. Then she told John Smith to try. John Smith nodded. He held out his hand. He tried to look friendly, but the bird was scared. It quickly flew behind Pocahontas. It did not trust him. "It is not working," John Smith whispered. Pocahontas looked at him. Her eyes were serious but kind. "Be real." John Smith took a deep breath. He closed his eyes. This time he did not try to be strong. He just felt thankful that he was alive. He thought about the girl in front of him. He thought about the forest around them. The bird slowly left Pocahontas. It flew to John and sat on his arm. Suddenly many other birds flew down from the trees. They sang loudly. They brought flower crowns made of green leaves and wild flowers. One crown fell gently on Pocahontas's head. It looked like a crown of nature. The other crown went to John Smith. They laughed together in the quiet forest. The birds heard them. They sang and flew away. John Smith looked at Pocahontas. His eyes were soft. "You are beautiful. Thank you for saving my life," he said slowly. He really meant it. Suddenly Pocahontas's face turned pale. "Oh no, your people must leave right now," she said quickly. "No, everyone must run away. Today is the day after the full moon. Your camp is about to attack my tribe. They want to take the whole forest," Pocahontas continued, "and my father wants to force your people to join our tribe." Both sides were ready for war. Warriors stood in long lines with weapons in their hands. Loud shouts filled the forest. Pocahontas ran out. She stood between the two sides. "Father, I am trying to stop this war. It will only bring death to everyone." Powhatan looked at his daughter with hard eyes. "The forest does not belong only to humans. It belongs to the trees and the animals. They give us food and a home. We give them nothing. So why can't we share with each other?" Suddenly, the small animal that Pocahontas saved ran out. It happily licked her hand. A child from the governor's camp walked over. He smiled and played with the animal. Suddenly, a big lion walked out of the deep forest. Everyone was scared. Many soldiers raised their guns, but the small animal stood in front of Pocahontas and the child. It wanted to protect them. The child shook a little, but he touched the lion's nose. Then he laughed. Surprisingly, the lion smiled back. Right then, John Smith ran forward and shouted, "Stop! Why can't humans and animals live in peace? Why don't we trade? Why don't we live together in peace and happiness?" Silence covered everything. Finally, people began to understand. Humans and humans, humans and nature. We must live in harmony. That is the only way to have a peaceful and happy life. The story of Pocahontas reminds us of something important. True strength does not come from weapons or power. It comes from kindness and respect. Nature is not something to conquer. It is a shared home. We must learn to live together. Only when we know how to love, respect, and share can we create a life of true peace and happiness. See you in the next stories.